Soaring friends. I am Vitaly Portnikov, Zahid Media Magayat among themselves. Who is going to talk about Trump's so-called new plan, even before the completion of the Russian-Ukrainian guilt? The plan about me is not informed by the president himself, with the data received in the state. And it is also important to be publicly and enviable to the minds of the plan. Media will have a new plan, and I'm just behind the old one. That's the plan. I am the President of the United States, having Propanovav buckets to the President of the Russian Federation. After that, I turned around to the Oval Office. And the President of the Russian Federation will follow a plan that respects everything from Trump's point of view. Propi is not on fire on the Russian-Ukrainian front. Having continued the drawn-an hour, the skin of a new telephone sweep and an American colleague. And now the Zustrix of the Presidents of the United States and the Russian Federation are at Anchorage. What has changed and overgrown? Before leaving, 28 points will propane to the Kremlin again. Well, we don't know what will be propanuatia on the stand. Steve Witkov, I saw off with the Russian bailiff Karol Dmitriev Uzhov with the arrival of the Russian prefix to the received states. About his admission to the social, and actually caused the information of Western journalists D.N. Vidnov and Dmitry Karol. A friend that the American side has overgrown, you have decided to informally shit against the need with 20 more leaves falling. And the implementation of American sanctions of the pro-Russian naphtha companies Rosneft and Lukoil. President Putin will lead the bilsh rationally, and that with the Trump approach, until the end of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Well, everything is absolutely logical. I am still Americans of Putin's realism. They have no Kishny Maya from the year of the President of Ukraine on, and the plan is once again Putin from him. So that the Russian president does not develop in the situation with Trump's propositions, and the Ukrainian through them. And the same plan is still on the dead people of the point itself. The fact that for the rights of new sanctions against the Russian Federation, for everything directly from the President of Russia, and you for actions with the staff received. I'm still Putin, the action would end the war with the shlyak of the savings of the Russian economy. Disappeared for the presidency of Joe Biden. And to check Donald Trump with the new American sanctions in the Oval Office. A friend in terms of points is not just not about empty for Putin, but such I am the President of Russia can guide his special image. For the Telegraph, the American side of propane and Russia to rally, and pennies for renting the territory of Odessa, Donetsk region. I am controlled by our temples and the legitimate Ukrainian side. And with this plan, there may be a bid for the control of the Russian occupiers. So that Russia will pay a penny for Ukraine, which is often on the territory, and not for the entire territory of the Donetsk region, occupied by the Russians and less torture. And pithy, obviously, is absolutely not empty for Putin. But let's make a wish. This is the name of the Donetsk People's Republic at the administrative cordons of the Donetsk region of Ukraine, which are not very frequent on the territory of the Russian Federation with a guide and with the constitutional right of Russia itself. Well, Yaki is the name of the Luhansk People's Republic, so is the Zaporozhye and Kherson region. And such a rank. And with the fact that Russia, Maya pays Ukraine pennies for rent, often on the territory of Donbass. You are still occupied Donbass. And from Putin's point of view, and from the point of view of Russians. This is the name of the Donetsk People's Republic. I am a subject of the Federation. You do not complicate the view of Bryansk. But Vologda. Today you pay rent for the territory, until tomorrow you will pay rent for the territory of the Sakhalin region. On the was, The Kuril Islands enters the warehouse of those regions of the Russian Federation, and Japan claims control over. And for the evening of a friend's light guilt. It is known that no one in Nikola's Russia is aware of the fact that the occupation is on the territory Zak needs to pay. Scrolls in Zagoli, such ideas are stated in documents and not in the Trump administration. Well, I would still be glad that we are on the right and realtors, and not to trade with people on rather than political torture. And you are helping us before the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Those approaches have already been learned to regulate the conflict at a close outcome. There are so many propositions again before the lease of the territory of one power. So it was, let's say, with Israel and Jordan. There the rent-seeking was done, and there the rent-seeking was not resolved. At the close end of the day, my wingman got tired at the cordon. And one power in I, as a rule, is the most noble because of the long territorial compromises with the Russian-Ukrainian cordon. Everything is absolutely obvious. From the point of view of international law, both Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia regions, and Crimea are often as far as Ukraine. The President of the Russian Federation, together with the President of Ukraine, is a disciple and the Kalishny Radian Republic. In 1993 kind of signing the Almaty Declaration. In principle, it meant taking out all the knowledge of the pegged Radian republics and the administrative cordons of one in the brightness of the cordons of the sovereign powers. There is no one in the declaration of the Russian Federation Nikola and the decertification of documents of a bilateral nature between Russia and Ukraine is not a chain. And it's just, I would say, in the 100 of international law, I have long been banned by Russia. We talk and process. We are talking about the fact that Putin Nikola is not with a flexible approach to the Russian territory. I am not in his samples. Recording Ukrainian land in Russian documents, and Ukrainian land are often in Russia. And there are such points in the so-called Trump plan. So the day has already come 20-leaf fall. To the President with the received states by the People's Plan. And yet, sanctions against the Russian Federation to Putin again plan over Yermay-Butnam. And over the posh Shliaka exit firm the Russian-Ukrainian Vienna. I absolutely believe that the Russian president will not give Trump a solution to the problem of the completion of guilt on the Russian-Ukrainian front. Even before that hour, Russia will have resources and people for its guilt. And with this rank, a single completion in the fire. I am not an old plan, but an intensive, serious, economical, and forceful lawsuit against the Russian Federation. Uncle agrees on the channel, subscribe to him, subscribe to my social on the channel in Patreon. This helps to develop those resources, the sponsorship function itself.